we're so to welcome you to our November webinar titled Winter is Coming. I'm delighted to have with us to talk to us today is Angus Tucker, who is the head of our adjusting company, Lorega Solutions.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Angus. And he's going to take you through a few claim scenarios, those of which we hope your clients will face this coming year. But believe everything we read in the current news, apparently we're going to have the whitest winter in 29 years. So, you know, be prepared, and it's getting your clients ready for that scenario. So onto that thought, I'll hand you over to Angus. I'm here throughout the presentation and will be here with Angus at the end of the presentation to take any questions. You know, if you've got anything about loss recovery insurance or any part of the product, we'll be here to answer those queries. And so I'm now going to hand you over to Angus, and he'll start us with the Winter is Coming presentation. Thank you very much, Angus.
Thank you, Anne. Well, good afternoon, Jeff, everyone. What I'm going to do, I'm initially looking at a number of tips that you can pass on to your clients in relation to winter coming up, where the majority of claims that one gets in the winter are from storm claims or from flood, from burst pipes, that sort of thing, even with heavy snow from flooding afterwards, that type of thing. So tips what to do if they do suffer from an event. Then look at a quick case study indicating the sort of problem that can happen, and then finishing off with a few further tips, moving on from commercial really to domestic, where people in winter, some tips what they should be doing before they go away, that they're going on long skiing holidays, that type of thing. Right, so starting off looking at commercial properties, where they've suffered a flood or a storm, that type of thing in the winter. Just working down through the list, no particular order of importance, these are all important. First of all, are services still operating? You know, electricity, gas, water. If they're not, then check with the policyholder should be checking with the utility company the reason why, and obtaining an indication for the reinstatement of the supply, because that's often critical to trying to get back up to business. If you've got no power, water, it doesn't matter how little damage you've got, there's not much you can do. If the services are on, however, that in itself can pose a threat. Again, that's something to look at. For example, if the property is flooded, should the power be turned off at the mains? And that's often something to get the electricity board in to prevent short circuits and then a possible fire. Another tip, and as I'm sure you'll agree, this is really a general tip for anyone on claims, as if they're uninsured. If they've got urgent decisions to take and there's nobody to give them advice, they should take decisions on the basis of what's best for their business, what's business critical to survive, not, as quite a few people do, basis of, oh, what do they think insurers would want, and go down that route, because insurers would want them to take a business critical decision. Take photographs of the damage. You know, the modern era we're in, digital cameras, you can take hundreds of pictures, and the more the better, because memories fade down the line, and it will help identifying the damage, especially with saturated stock, that type of thing. If possible, if there's an undamaged stock there or undamaged equipment, move it higher out of reach of potential rising flood water. If it's from a flood, near a river, that sort of thing, the chances are that it'll go down, but then it'll come back up probably even worse. So if you're two-storey premises, for example, and it's possible to move things, move them as high as possible. Event, undamaged goods, if they're there, make sure they're moved away from damaged goods and stock, otherwise you get contamination, and undamaged stuff can then become damaged quite quickly. If there's perishable stock, especially foodstuffs, that type of thing, it's been saturated, it will need to be disposed of fairly urgently before it becomes a health hazard. And make sure that the policyholder correctly records it and photographs it before it's disposed of. If the policyholder is uncertain on this, on what to do in a health risk, anything that's got a potential health risk, or whether it's salvageable or they can reuse it, they should seek immediate advice from the local environmental health officer. that's always a good route to go down, because the health officer will come out, and their department will come out and inspect the goods, list the goods, and issue certificate for anything that is condemned, which is ideal for proving the claim later on and supporting it. Taking immediate necessary measures that are required for mopping up. Again, some of this common sense, but people, when they're panicking following an event, don't always have the common sense, tends to go out of the window. Don't wait. The thing is, don't wait for someone to give permission. We've dealt with claims where we've rung up after receiving instructions and saying, how far have you got? And they said, well, we haven't started. We didn't like to do anything before we were given permission. Insurance premises have ventilation, and plenty of ventilation as well, to both assist in drying out, but to prevent subsequent possible mould growth. If necessary, they should contact specialist damage management companies who specialise in drying and cleaning floodwater, that type of thing, or where rainwater's coming after storms. They can assist with pumping out and drying out the premises. If the policyholder is not sure how to find these people, the British Damage Management Association, the BDMA, is a good starting point. Dispose of anything that's salvageable as well, because insurers get very upset about that. Store any stock that is salvageable separately, and again bring in the specialist damage management company to assist on that. If the premises, because of the damage, are uninhabitable, and they're going to be left unattended at the end of the day, then make sure they're secured to prevent further loss or damage. For example, undamaged stock that's there could disappear overnight through theft if there's unattended premises and they haven't been secured. If the policyholder is a tenant of the premises, they should be advised to contact their landlord as soon as possible, usually via the managing agent. They should advise the landlord of the position and ask them or require them to take the necessary immediate action. Obviously, the policyholder can't start to recover their business until the building that they're trading from has been sorted out, dried and repaired. And if premises are uninhabitable, the policyholder should really be looking to try and find suitable local alternative premises to continue temporary trading from, even if it's at a smaller level. Just carrying on and being seen by their customers that they are trading can be psychologically very important. Try to reallocate internal resources as well. If part of the business is not affected, or they've got 3 or 4 different locations and the others aren't affected, they should be reallocating internal resources to protect and maintain future sales. I mentioned customers. Contacting their customers to advise them of the position, important, especially if there's an immediate supply of promised orders and that's affected and no longer possible. The policyholder should be seeking to reinsure their customers. What they can do, the worst thing they can do, is to take the approach that, oh no, we'll get this sorted out quickly, we don't want to worry or upset our customers, we won't tell them. We can guarantee that their competitors will be aware of this very quickly, and they'll be telling the customers if the policyholder isn't. Again, on customers, prioritise those who are key to business. The business's initial recovery of the business proceeds once it dries out. Focus on those key customers rather than spending a lot of time on someone who gives a very small amount of business to them. Again, create a separate cost code in their accounts that's specific to the flood damage or the storm damage, and anything to do with all related expenditure, mopping up, salvaging, that sort of thing, that should all be go to the accounts against that specific cost code. That makes it easier further down the line to track costs later on, especially if people are going out, as often happens post-flood, and spending a lot of petty cash to buy cleaning products, mops, that sort of thing. That can easily get forgotten and lost. And last, but as you'll agree, most definitely not least, they should, I'm sure you will do, you should stress to them that they should contact you as their insurance broker as soon as possible, in order that they can advice from you, you can point them in the right direction to get special advice, that sort of thing, and you're aware. Just looking now at a brief case study indicating even if you take precautions, the sort of thing that can happen. This this relates to it's a domestic claim, but it's a high net worth one, but it's the principle that's really the important thing. What happened here was that it was a high net worth property on the south coast with separate buildings and contents insurance. The family vacated on the 16th of December for a holiday to South Africa. They were South African, came from there originally and had a holiday home there, and they spent Christmas with the family there. This was a period of cold weather, or literally, it was 17th of December onward. It got incredibly cold, and it had been forecast. What happened was that they took lots of precautions. The property, everything was lagged up in the loft. There was very good insulation. They left the central heating on. They set it to run all day. They had a special timer that could, in the night, increase the temperature and drop it back a bit in the day. And again, the neighbour had key holder access in order that he could check on it. Unfortunately, they had a power shower, and the pump for the power shower was quite a large unit, the specialist one, with a large dome on the top of the pipe with the impeller for the pump, and the dome just poked out of the top of the insulation and wasn't quite in it. Some water had been left in within the impeller unit, and whilst everything else was nice and secure and insulated, this bit, it was cold enough that it froze just enough to crack the pump casing. So when it went down the temperature and the ice inside melted under full mains pressure, the whole house was absolutely cascaded. As you can see from these pictures, water came cascading down the main stairs. There were massive amounts of damage done, huge problems. Now illustrating, that illustrates no matter what you do beforehand, you can have these problems. Now an indication of what can go wrong if the correct action isn't taken. The policyholders contacted their broker. The insurers of both the buildings and contents, because they were different ones, were notified. Both of them told the policyholder, don't worry, we've got our own specialist damage reclamation people and contractors. We'll get them in because the neighbour's got the keys, he's a key holder, he can let them in. We'll get everything cleaned up, sorted and repaired. However, despite numerous phone calls and follow-ups, by mid-January, bearing in mind this happens on the 18th of December, nobody had visited, no action had been taken, and there was considerable deterioration taking place. The policyholder really was at the end of his tether. The broker recommended that he contact Lorega, and we were instructed on an after the event basis. We were down literally the same day, assessing the damage. We were able to bring in not just damage reclamation people, but a specialist project manager. They sort of sorted out getting the electricity supply, everything else turned off, removal of saturated carpets, floor coverings, drying out. We identified the extent of damage, started things moving. They had artwork that was removed and painted. So very quickly things were up to date. The rest of the claim went swimmingly, but the bottom line there was the total cost of the claim was £130,000. If those measures had been taken place the same day that it was discovered, we'd have been looking at a loss of £30,000 to £40,000. Now just a few typical winter tips for your domestic customers who are disappearing off on holiday, for absences, that type of thing. Just tips to make them aware. First things, I mean, some people these days go for 3.5 weeks. If they're going to New Zealand skiing or Canada or America skiing, as they do, they combine it with something else. Make sure that the policy covers long absences. Sometimes there's a 15 or 20 day, often it's 30-day limit for consecutive unoccupancy, but just make sure the policy does cover it. Some policies also state that somebody needs to visit the property every week if it's unoccupied. Again, make sure all doors and window locks are secure to prevent break-ins. Often it's amazing how many times we deal with claims where the door's actually been left unlocked, they've forgotten to lock it. take details for emergency contractors, especially in the winter, emergency plus someone like that. Write that down, because even if someone's got your contact details, a neighbour, they ring you to tell you you've got a burst pipe or a problem, you'll need to sort out getting someone in to dry out, that type of thing there. The alarms in good working order as well, and check it before they go. And it's had a regular service to make sure it's up to date. Even if it's not a theft, a burst pipe can short the electrics out. That can trigger the alarm, and that can notify, if there's no key holder, people that something's wrong, and you can get in there quickly to turn the water off. Many policies, high net worth ones, have a requirement for a service contract anyway. Now, either if they're going to leave the central heating running and leave everything turned on, keep the boiler going, type of thing, that's fine, but the mains turned on for that. However, if they're worried about a burst pipe and pumping out all the time, we'd rather switch the mains off, then turn the central heating off, but turn off the mains, turn the water main off, that type of thing. And if necessary, if you're away for 3 or 4 weeks, also drain the tank so there's no water in bursts there. I said, if they don't have a key holder who comes in, you should still notify a trusted neighbour, tell them they're going away, make sure they've got a spare key in case anything does happen to come in. And finally, something that's more a recent phenomena, absolutely avoid posting on social media that you're going away somewhere exotic on holiday, you're going skiing in Whistler in Canada, that sort of thing. Your followers might be, jealous and envious and like to know you're jetting off to the sun or to the winter slopes. However, other people read it too, and they have different motives to suddenly realise that that house is going to be empty. Thank you. I'll pass you back to Anne, who will talk about loss recovery insurance.
Thank you very much, Angus. I hope you all found that really useful. As I say, it's something to think about when we all depart at Christmas and go to our various places. And obviously my part of the presentation is about loss recovery insurance and the product, and some of you will already use it and sell it to clients, and maybe not everybody knew that you can actually sell it to high net worth clients as well as the commercial clients. But you'll get an expert such as Angus or one of the team all over the country to help prepare, negotiate and settle commercial claims and the trigger point is £5,000. So we don't deal with claims below £5,000. Thank you. As I said, the adjusters we use, they're all in the main, they're all qualified chartered members of the Chartered Institute of Loss Adjusters. So they're not assessors. Quite a few clients sometimes say, oh, we need an assessor. Well, they're actually qualified adjusters, which Angus will verify. And they're there to provide unlimited expert advice on claims. If you ever have a problem on a loss, you're not sure where to go, then just pick up the phone and talk to one of our guys, or and I'll put you in touch with one of the guys. And they're accessible 24 hours. 7 days a week. There's a UK-wide service, so you've got your Channel Islands, you've Northern Ireland, UK are covered, and as I say, there's no limit on that £5,000. Once it's above £5,000, there's no actually upper limit on the claim. So if your client's paid a couple of £100, that will cover him unlimited for whatever the situation has arisen. Affordable premiums. If anybody doesn't have any rates or is wondering where they can access rates, we have specific ones. You're an actress user, or BEBA member, or members of certain schemes, then please get in touch and we'll make you have the appropriate rates for your company. The product is there because to give you a fast response on claims, whether when something does happen, and they've never had a claim before, they don't know where to go, and it's something that will really speed up the claims process, because our guys are working alongside the insurers, adjusters and the insurers to get that client back up and running as quickly as possible. It gives your clients peace of mind. It's obviously professional formulation of claims. So when the insurer's a loss adjuster, if it is a horrendous winter and you've got loads of claims on the go, the adjusting side of the things from the insurers, it will be difficult for them to get out quickly. So at least you're getting someone out on behalf of the client and professionally formulating that claim in the way the insurers need to see that, so that they can make a decision on the payment of the claim. And our auditors are there to push for the best possible settlement under the claim under the policy that you've arranged for your client. It reduces the time and cost of actually with the claim, not just from the client side, but from your side as well as a broker. And of course, the most important thing, if the client has the policy, then there's absolutely no need for that after event scenario. We still provide after event service if you have clients who don't buy the policy, but at least it actually gives them that support, because that's a very expensive thing client to pay rather than have the policy up front. And it's all about business survival. You know, if you talk to clients and find out how long could they survive if they suffered, you know, a burst pipe or a flood, you know, and you know, most clients will probably say, well, we can manage probably a couple of months, 3 months, but the reality will probably be more like 6 weeks, because once you actually paid your rent and your rates and your wages and, you know, and all sorts of outgoings and suppliers, the money runs out very quickly if there's nothing coming back in the other way. So it's all about business survival for clients and keep the minimum disruption to their lifestyle, because from a client's point of view, a claim can be all-consuming. And there's so much so that I've had clients who've told me that they've stayed up overnight because they've been worried whether the premises going to be burgled again, whether you know, and is going to break down again. Those are kind of scenarios that we are there to help them through, and as I say, hopefully give them that comfort when the claim happens. Thank you, Sarah. And benefits to yourselves. What this does is an exceptional claim service to all your clients, not just the large clients who everybody looks after. It's, you know, if you're honest to your SME and your VSME clients, it's giving them the first class service that everybody should experience. Obviously, the commission that you're going to earn on policies, that's something that's going to help you all reach your targets. But more importantly, I think it's just the time thing, getting in the minute detail of claims that can be time consuming yourself. So if you've got a professional loss adjuster from Lorega working on your behalf day in, day out on this loss, that can only help you, because obviously you can concentrate on your day job, whether it's your loss renewals or earning some new business. And from protecting your clients' relationships, if you've got something that's going to support the immediate the claim happens, and let's say sometimes there are problems on claims, there could be, you know, an underinsurance issue or insurable interest issue. If we know that from day one, that we can work together with the client and yourselves as to what to be, you know, told to the insurers and how we can help the insurers. And ultimately, if you're performing on the claim side of things, then that can only be great for you to help retain and win new clients, because it's having your own case study to follow, because that's a good testimony to give a new business client saying, well, this is a business, maybe it was a motor trade or whatever it may be, that's had a pretty awful claim, but I really go there to step in, and this is what they did to make a difference. That kind of case study, when it's own, and we'll help you, support you when you have a claim. We'll try, you know, if we can, we'll get it into a case study, because it gives you the confidence, because you've used the service to understand it, how it can help you win new clients from that point of view. Okay, just go over what it does cover. It's an MDBI policy. It covers engineering, computer, goods and transit. You could have you know, contractors or risks. If you just think property policy, combine the premium and then you can apply whatever rate it would be on the rating cards. We don't cover injury or liability claims. Or say if it floats, flies, or goes or drives, then we won't cover it. But basically, under marine, you may have your goods in transit policy covered under the marine, or there could be a UK stock throughput. You would have to take that section of the policy away from the marine to be able to include that in the quotation. We don't cover the subsidence, land, hit, slip, or leave claims. Substance has been excluded under the policy, and the reason being that they are long tail claims. It's going to take quite some time to get through that loss, and they will provide you with your structural engineers or the underpinning. It's going to be monitored, and there's actually nothing we can do to speed up the claim. However, what I would say is, in respect of after the event, we could always be there for you if there are any disputes, for instance, or any issues. Then Angus and the team will be there to assist. Don't pursue uninsured losses, because 9 times out of 10 the insurers include those in their pursuit if there is a third party to be recovered. And of course, when it turns legal, proceedings, then that's over to the solicitors to deal with the claim. And I've already covered the claims outside the United Kingdom. Okay. Transact. There are a couple of ways. It's either a simple quote and buy from the Lorega online system, or alternatively, if you have the Actress